45 to 1. In the average enterprise, for every human user, there are 45 machine identities. Every API key, every service account, every agent token, every secret in every config file. Your IAM platform probably tracks about 2% of them. And that's where the breaches are coming from now. This is tech updates, the NHI crisis, non-human identity crisis. This is the thing I'm probably most worked up about in the entire cybersecurity landscape right now, because it's simultaneously the biggest gap in enterprise security and the topic with the worst marketing coverage. Let me explain what we're talking about, then explain why it matters, then tell you what to actually do. NHI stands for non-human identity, an identity on your network that isn't a person. The term gets confused with service account, but service accounts are a subset. NHIs include service accounts, yes, but also API keys, OAuth tokens, SSH keys, client certificates, cloud IAM roles, Kubernetes service accounts, database credentials, agent tokens, webhook secrets, CI/CD access tokens, vendor integrations, and newly AI agents with their own credentials. The ratio in 2026 enterprises, according to Clutch Security's annual report, is about 45 non-human identities for every human identity. In highly automated shops, CI/CD heavy SaaS companies, the ratio is 100 to 1. In some agentic shops experimenting with heavy AI agent deployment, it's pushing 200 to 1. Your IAM platform, Okta, Entra, Ping, covers humans pretty well. It covers NHIs badly. Okta estimates that less than 10% of NHIs in typical enterprise deployments are managed through their platform. The phrase service account is doing a lot of work. A service account implies something deliberate, inventoried, and owned. In practice, the average service account was created by an engineer named Dave in 2017, has God mode permissions, no rotation policy, is used by 42 systems nobody's audited, and Dave left the company in 2020. There are thousands of Daves. Dave is everywhere. Dave is your problem. And before you laugh, audit your own environment. Go look at your Jenkins service accounts, your database read-only roles that aren't read-only, your legacy integration bot that still has an API token from a product that's been decommissioned for 3 years. I'll wait. Let me give you 3 real 2024 and 2025 breaches that trace back to NHI abuse. The Snowflake breach of 2024. Attackers used credentials bought on the dark web to access customer Snowflake tenants that didn't have MFA enabled on their service accounts. They exfiltrated data from 165 plus customers, including AT&T, Ticketmaster, and Santander. The root cause wasn't a Snowflake vulnerability. It was NHIs without MFA. Snowflake did what Snowflake was told to do, which is, to be clear, one of the most important engineering principles. The system executed its instructions correctly. The instructions were trust this credential. Guess what didn't have MFA enabled? The GitHub token incidents of 2024 and 2025. Multiple cases where stolen GitHub personal access tokens from developer laptops led to source code theft at Uber, Mercedes-Benz, and others. The attackers didn't compromise the corporate network. They compromised a developer's local machine, stole a long-lived PAT, and used it to access GitHub as the developer. The Azure IMDS attacks. Instance Metadata Service lets Cloud VM instances get their own IAM credentials without secrets being stored on the instance. Convenient. Also attackable through server-side request forgery. If an attacker can trick a web application into making an HTTP request to the metadata endpoint, they can steal the instance's IAM credentials. This happened to Capital One in 2019 and again in multiple 2024 incidents. Common thread: all 3 are NHI problems. None of them would have been prevented by better user authentication or stronger MFA on human accounts. Every enterprise with maturity has a PAM solution: CyberArk, Beyond Trust, Delinea. These tools vault credentials, rotate passwords, monitor sessions. They're great for humans. The problem: PAM was designed around the use case of employee needs temporary elevated access to a server. Check out the password, do the thing, check it back in, session is recorded. PAM doesn't handle the case of this GitHub Actions workflow runs every 5 minutes and needs access to AWS, the artifact registry, and the database. That's not a checkout pattern, that's a programmatic access pattern. Different tool. The NHI tooling category basically didn't exist before 2023. Now there are 5 main players: Astrix Security, Oasis Security, Clutch Security, Teleport, Different Animal, Machine-to-Machine Identity, strong at issuing short-lived credentials to replace long-lived secrets. Natoma, early but focused on the SaaS permission sprawl problem. None of these are mature. The category is 2 to 3 years old. If you're buying right now, expect to be an early customer. If you're waiting for the Gartner Magic Quadrant, you'll be waiting another year. 3 things you can actually do this quarter. Inventory, you can't secure what you can't see. The first engagement with any NHI vendor is a discovery scan. Expect the result to be terrifying. One of my contacts ran a scan and found 47,000 active NHIs at a 5,000 person company. She thought they had maybe 5,000. Rotate. Any long-lived credential, API keys, PATs, service account passwords should be rotated on a schedule. If you can't rotate something, replace it with a short-lived alternative. Workload Identity Federation, OIDC issued tokens, instance metadata service with scoped roles. Scope down. This is the hardest and the most important. Every NHI you found in step 1 probably has more permissions than it needs. Review and shrink. The principle of least privilege is easy to say and hard to do. Do it anyway. These 3 are free. They don't require a vendor, they require effort. Here's the part that should scare you. Agents are NHIs. Every autonomous agent you deploy is another identity, another credential, another blast radius. We are about to go from 45 to 1 to 500 to 1 in some shops. An enterprise that deploys AI agents at scale is going to have more agent identities than any other type of identity on their network combined. And every single one of those agents has the potential to take destructive action, move money, delete data, send emails as a user, because that's what agents do. If you haven't started inventorying your NHIs yet, this is your sign. Because next year, on top of everything I've described, you're going to be managing agent identities. That's a compounding problem. Solving NHI governance now is the only way you scale to agent governance later. NHI is the biggest unsolved problem in enterprise security. It's worse than agents. Agents are a new layer on top. It's worse than the SaaS explosion. SaaS is a set of NHI problems wrapped in a UI. It's the substrate of everything, and it's been quietly broken for a decade. Nobody had a good tool for it. Nobody had a good process for it. We all built on Dave-style service accounts and hoped nothing would happen. Well, things are happening. Find them, rotate them, scope them down, and for the love of whatever you love, stop hard-coding secrets in your Git repos. Every GitHub dependency scanner I've ever run on a new client has found secrets in the first 5 minutes. It happens everywhere, including at companies that should know better, especially at companies that should know better. That's Tech Updates. I'm Andres. That wraps our EP 17 to 21 series. SaaS collapse, supply chain, AI power, typhoons, NHIs. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe. See you in a few weeks.